you been enjoying, or has your passion been involved with violets?
I started about 44 years ago.
44 years ago,
Yes.
so we can call you an expert. And tell me, but now, what is this wives' tale about leaving moisture on the leaf?
So when I give them a bath, I make sure that I just take a paper towel and just dab it dry real gently. And before I put them back into a place where they might have some
Setting
conditions
water?
where they don't like.
Okay.
Right.
Now, what is this you have in your hand? Show us what you have.
This is a makeup brush.
What?
And I use it to dust them once in a while. If I'm not going to give them a bath, I'll just take a makeup brush. Might want to hold their leaves up with a little support and just brush that dirt and dust off. I'm not a duster.
I'm not a duster either, but hey,
I like
priority.
I can dust my violets. That's the fun part.
That is definitely the fun part. You know, the priority is our plants.
Right.
What going to show us at this point?
I'm going to tell you a little bit about propagation. You can propagate two ways. You can put the leaf in water, or you can put it in soil. And put them in soil. I mark them with the name of the variety of violet, and then what day. And these I just did yesterday. But this one started these leaves in water, and then once they got rooted, I put them in soil.
Oh gosh!
And you can see their little soil.
This is just a leftover container from dining out.
Yes. And you can tell if I lift this up, you can see all those roots.
Oh, look at that!
So once it gets very well rooted, the little leaves will start to come out.
Yes. Oh gosh. So then these are at this stage just before a little secondary seedling leaf will pop out.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
You said that there's different ways to water, and you were going to show me one of the ways with this little container.
Yes. This is called a watering pot for African violets, or any kind of violet plant, really. I use them for African violets because it works perfectly for them.
There's no hole in the
no
bottom.
hole. It's a porous clay.
Yes.
And it just absorbs the right amount of water. There's water in the base. And I put fertilizer water in there, and then you just sit it down, and it'll dry out in about a week or so. It'll dry up,
because
and then I
the
leave
water
it for a
has
few days.
absorbed into this container. See, when I saw that at first, my first thought as a gardener is, "Oh my goodness, there's water sitting in the bottom of this plant."
It's a very tiny bit of water in the very bottom that soaks in.
Because there's no hole in that, it will slowly absorb through the clay. And I liked your idea of putting fertilizer in with that as well. Can we see in the bottom of this again? Let's look. Yeah, so there's that water just, all right.
Violets don't like wet feet, but there's a small amount of water that's coming in there, just the right thing.
Right.
This variety is called Frozen in Time. It's variegated, and it's doing very well. It's very
Look at the
happy.
leaves are variegated. How pretty. Now, are these flowers particular to this variety? They're ivory or white? Okay.
And green, which is very unusual to have a green flower.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, tell me about this variety that you have.
This one is called Hawaiian Dancer, actually. I thought it was Mermaid's Kiss, but there's another one called Mermaid's Kiss. And the reason I picked the name, this one I picked because I love the bloom.
Right.
But which hasn't quite come out yet.
Yeah, it's starting, I can see.
But then I have 4 grand girls, and all the grandkids that are girls love mermaids right now. They're all, and so I got one that's called Mermaid's Kiss.
And do you have that one?
I do.
Let's find it.
This one's called Mermaid's Kiss.
Oh, and what color flower will that have?
I think it's kind of a pink. It's got some little buds coming out.
Yeah.
It was blooming when I got it.
Okay.
And then a lot of times when I plant them, I'll disbud them, which is very hard to do.
Right, because you want it to
gives them a better start.
Yes. And what's the name of this one?
And this one is for the boys. I have 2 grand boys. And this one's called Planet Kid.
Planet Kid.
Because they're all into planets right now.
Yeah. Who knew you could apply gardening to something that's appropriate and applicable for your children.
Right.
All right, so Julia, you were going to tell me about how you got started in these African violets, and they're so beautiful, and you have so much knowledge, so let's tell them about how you got started.
Okay. Well, I think it's probably a lot genetic, because both of my grandmothers loved plants.
Families.
Yes. one of my aunts gave me an African violet when I first got married.
Okay.
And I had lots of light, and it was in a really good location. Although I had no idea what to do with it, it was blooming and very pretty.
Oh, nice.
Well, then we moved, and something happened, and the next several moves, I never could recreate what I had before, and I just was killing every violet.
Okay.
I could not get them to live.
So you had some learning to do.
Yes.
And
So
you mean you weren't an instant gardener, Julia?
No.
Oh, that's good to know.
no
Most
idea what I
people
was
are
doing.
not instant gardeners. You've
Right.
got to learn.
I grew up on a farm and
Right.
like doing vegetables, but my parents mostly did all the gardening, and I just
Okay.
ate the food.
There you go. It's a good idea, but we grow
how to
out of
do
that.
it. Yeah. So I kept seeing, I loved violets. They were my passion, and I really wanted to learn how to grow them.
Yeah.
So I just decided, after looking at some of the African violet books, that if those people could win them for grow them and
Right.
win prizes for show,
Right.
that I ought to be able to do it.
So did you hear what she said that I really just kind of keyed in on, is that it was a passion, and that's what turned into a love. And so, this is what she has. So then
Right.
once you decided you wanted
I just
this,
taught myself how to do it. And I just read and read and read and said, if other people can do it, I can do it. It can't be that
Absolutely.
difficult.
Right.
So I just learned everything that I could about growing violets. The more that I had success, the
Right.
deeper it got. Like, oh, well, if it works there, I'm going to try the next step, like
Yes.
propagation. Or
You mean you didn't give up?
No, I didn't give up.
See, and that's why she's so good at what she did. She didn't give up. She decided this was something that she could learn. You continued to grow and learn, and so then when did you realize, gee, you're getting kind of good at this?
Yeah, well, at one point I had over 250 violets in my home.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and first I was going to homeschool my children.
Yeah, because I don't think I knew you when you had all the violets.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I decided to homeschool, and 200 violets take a lot of care.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
so do children and
Yes.
homeschooling. You
And
know,
I had too much-
priorities.
I was like, violets have to go. The children, maybe not so easily. So
Yeah.
I decided that everybody that came to my house got a violet.
Oh my
Left with a
gosh,
violet. So
why didn't I know her then?
now I have a small sun porch, and I probably have a little bit more than I should, but I get so excited.
Yes.
I see one and I'm like, oh, I have to have that one, or I have to have
Yes.
that one. I order a lot through mail order.
Oh, okay.
And it's fun just to get varieties that you've never seen before.
Yes, yeah, and can I pop in on the mail order? I last year killed a beautiful trumpet vine.
Oh.
It's stunning. Anyway, and because I was told it was a perennial, we all still have things to learn. But I ordered 3 more online. They came as 3 little sticks, but I will show you those later. But online is a viable way because our mailing system now is so good that you could probably get those in no
Yes.
time.
And a lot of places will only mail during the spring and fall when
Yes.
the weather is not. But
Right,
I found
extreme.
one, Linden Lyons out of New York.
Okay.
And they mail year round.
Oh.
And they do a great job
Uh-huh.
of getting them to you without them fainting or
being
freezing.
damaged, right? So Linden Lyons out of New York. Okay,
That's
once
good.
you started back with your violet knowledge and all your information, it looks like you've kind of recouped. I don't see 250 here, but what do you think? There's about 30.
Probably about 30 or 40, yeah.
Yeah, gosh, how exciting!
Except for just be brave, go for it. If you fail, read up, educate yourself,
Right.
and just try again. Because all it takes is knowing what to do, having them in the right environment, and they pretty much do their thing.
And I think, as with most plants, extremes of anything, unless you have special varieties like succulents and so on, but extremes of anything, the average plant does not care for that. They don't really like to be sitting in water. They don't like to be overly dry, overly wet. So it's a learning experience, but look at the results. I mean, I'm going to show you this one again. I just think this is stunning. Oh, some of my favorite colors. So, Julia, you were going to tell me something about growing where you're planted, or tell me what you're thinking.
Well, there's a scripture that says, the Lord says to us, you are a planting of the Lord.
Yes.
And we thrive when we're planted in a place that fits what our needs are. And the same with, that's what God does for us, but it applies to gardening.
Right.
If you put a plant in a shady spot and it likes sun, it's not going to survive.
It won't be
So why would you do that?
Right.
You would put a shade-loving plant in a shady environment, give it the kind of environment that it needs, and it's going to flourish.
Right. Oh, that's so
I think
good.
that's really good, not only for us, but we can remember that because of planting. The thing that happens when you lose a plant is that you haven't given it what it needs.
Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't either in the right place or the right environment, or its needs weren't taken care of. But good tips. So thanks again. But anyway, this has been Gretchen the Green Lady and her good friend Julia. And I just want to thank Julia for giving us your knowledge. And I hope that you get out there and enjoy your gardens and you get your hands